38 seconds ago, FBI Director Kash Patel's forehead started glistening under the House Judiciary Committee chamber lights. Not a subtle shine, the kind of visible perspiration that cameras zoom in on, that social media clips loop endlessly. Congressman Ted Lieu had just opened a thin manila folder, pulled out a single sheet of paper with FBI letterhead clearly visible to every camera in the room, and asked a question so precise, so devastating, that Patel's entire composure disintegrated in real time. The question was simple. The answer would destroy everything. "Director Patel," Lieu said, his voice carrying that distinctive prosecutorial calm he perfected during years as a military prosecutor, "can you explain why FBI data systems show 62 witness testimony files related to the Epstein investigation were permanently deleted between November 2nd and November 8th, 2024, using administrator-level access credentials traced directly to your office?" The room went silent. That specific kind of silence where you can hear the air conditioning hum, where camera autofocus motors become audible. And Kash Patel, the man appointed to bring transparency to the FBI, sat frozen with sweat visibly forming across his hairline. Let's back up to understand how we got here. House Judiciary Committee Oversight Hearing, March 12, 2026, 10:47 a.m. The session was scheduled as routine FBI operational review. The first 90 minutes proceeded as predicted. Republican members praised Patel's leadership. Democratic members pressed on controversial firings, questioned the reassignment of 1,200 counterintelligence agents. Patel deflected everything with bureaucratic precision. Then at 10:47 a.m., Chairman Jim Jordan recognized Congressman Ted Lieu for his allotted questioning time. Lieu is not a typical congressman. Former Air Force JAG prosecutor, constitutional law expert, who understands digital forensics better than most FBI agents. When Lieu asks questions in hearings, he doesn't grandstand. He prosecutes. "Director Patel," Lieu began, opening his folder with deliberate slowness, "I want to discuss FBI data preservation protocols, specifically regarding the Epstein investigation files." Patel shifted slightly in his seat. Nothing dramatic, but trained observers noticed. His three attorneys sitting behind him all leaned forward simultaneously. "Congressman," Patel responded, his voice steady, "the FBI maintains the most comprehensive data security and preservation systems in federal law enforcement. We have multiple redundant backup protocols." "Excellent," Lieu said. There was something in that single word that made everyone in the chamber understand that Patel had just confirmed exactly what Lieu needed him to confirm. "So you would agree that it would be virtually impossible for large amounts of FBI data to be deleted without leaving comprehensive audit trails showing who authorized the deletion?" Patel nodded, still projecting confidence. "Absolutely. Every deletion requires authenticated credentials, and those authentication logs are preserved indefinitely." Lieu pulled out the first document. "Director Patel, are you familiar with FBI System Access Report SA 2024-8847, dated November 9th, 2024? Patel's face showed the first visible sign of concern. His eyebrows drew together fractionally, his jaw tightened. "Without seeing the specific document, I can't comment on individual system reports. Let me help you remember," Lieu said, holding up a paper bearing official FBI letterhead, classification markings visible to every camera. "This is an internal FBI information security alert sent to you personally on November 9th by FBI Chief Information Officer Dr. Sarah Chen. Subject line: Critical data deletion requiring immediate executive review." The temperature in the room dropped. Lieu began reading, his voice clear and methodical. Quote, "Director Patel, this alert concerns an unauthorized data deletion incident that occurred between November 2nd and November 8th, 2024. Preliminary forensic analysis indicates that 62 witness testimony files related to the Epstein investigation were permanently deleted from FBI primary storage systems. The deletion utilized administrator-level override protocols requiring director-level credentials. System logs show the deletion was initiated using access code FBI DP4429, which is registered exclusively to your office. End quote. The impact was immediate. Patel's face went visibly pale. The kind of color drain that happens in seconds, captured from multiple angles. Sweat began forming along his hairline. His right hand moved toward his water glass, but stopped halfway. Director Patel, Lieu continued, calm and controlled. Would you like to explain why 62 witness testimony files were deleted using credentials registered to your office? 23 seconds of complete silence followed. In congressional hearings, 23 seconds is an eternity. It's long enough for news alerts to go out, for social media posts to start spreading, for everyone in that room to understand they are watching someone's career end in real time. Patel's mouth opened, then closed. His attorneys weren't passing notes. They sat frozen, clearly unprepared for this line of questioning. Finally, Patel spoke, and his voice had lost all its earlier confidence. Congressman, I don't have personal oversight of every technical system operation. Those credentials could be used by authorized personnel for routine data management. Routine data management, Lieu repeated slowly. Let me read you something else, Director. He pulled out a second document. This is FBI Data Deletion Protocol Manual, Section 4.7. Quote, Director-level credentials may only be utilized for data deletion in cases of proven national security compromise or under direct court order. All deletions require written justification filed within 24 hours. End quote. Lieu looked up from the document. Director Patel, according to FBI records, no written justification was filed for these deletions. No court order exists. No national security compromise was documented. So I'll ask again, why were 62 witness testimonies deleted? Patel's perspiration was now clearly visible on camera. Small drops forming, running down the side of his face. His voice came out strained. Congressman, there may have been extenuating circumstances that required expedited action. What circumstances? Lieu's question was surgical. What circumstances required you to delete 62 witness testimonies from the Epstein investigation? Here is where Lieu executed the trap's final stage. Let me tell you what was in those 62 files, Director. He pulled out a third document, this one significantly thicker. This is a partial recovery file obtained from FBI backup systems. Your deletion wasn't quite as permanent as you thought. Patel's eyes widened visibly. His lawyers leaned in, urgent whispers starting. But Lieu wasn't waiting for a response. Witness testimony file ET 2019-0847. A woman who worked at Epstein's Manhattan residence from 2006 to 2009. She provided names of 14 individuals she personally witnessed at the property. She offered to testify in court. You deleted her testimony. He pulled another page. Witness testimony file, ET 2019-1205, a former pilot who flew Epstein's private aircraft. He documented 89 flights with passenger manifests, including prominent political figures, entertainment executives, and foreign dignitaries. He provided flight logs. You deleted his testimony. Another page. Witness testimony file, ET 2020-0334. A victim who was trafficked at age 16. She named 7 men who assaulted her. She provided dates, locations, physical descriptions. She waited 15 years for justice. You deleted her testimony. Lieu's voice remained completely steady, but there was steel underneath. 62 witnesses, Director Patel. 62 people who came forward, who trusted the FBI to investigate their testimonies, who believed justice would be served. And you personally authorized the deletion of every single file. Patel tried to respond, but his voice failed initially. Congressman, this characterization is... He paused, struggling. Those files may have contained sensitive information that required. Sensitive information? Lieu interrupted. Let me read you what your own FBI analysts wrote about these deletions. He held up another document. Internal FBI memo from Senior Analyst Jennifer Martinez to Deputy Director dated November 10, 2024, 2 days after the deletions. Quote, The deleted witness files contained no classified information, no intelligence equities, and no material requiring protection under national security protocols. The deletions appear to have been executed to remove testimonial evidence naming high-profile individuals. This action may constitute obstruction of justice. I am formally documenting my concerns." End quote. The room erupted. Actual shouting from the gallery. Journalists on their feet, cameras swinging, Republican members looking shocked, Democratic members calling for points of order. Chairman Jordan's gavel came down hard. "Order, we will have order," but Lieu wasn't finished. "Director Patel," he said quietly, cutting through the noise, "I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I want you to look at the cameras when you answer, because 62 witnesses are watching, and the American people are watching." He paused. "Did you delete those witness testimonies to protect powerful individuals connected to Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise?" The question hung in the air like a physical weight. Patel sat completely still, sweat now running visibly down the side of his face, his hands clasped so tightly on the table that his knuckles were white. His breathing was audible in the microphone, and he said nothing. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds of absolute silence. Finally, one of his attorneys stood up. "Mr. Chairman, my client invokes his Fifth Amendment right and will not answer questions that may incriminate him." The room exploded again. Fifth Amendment. The FBI director was taking the fifth about deleting Epstein witness testimonies. Lieu nodded slowly, as if he'd expected exactly this. "Fifth Amendment," he said, "the right against self-incrimination." He gathered his documents. "Let the record show that FBI Director Kash Patel has invoked his Fifth Amendment right rather than explain why he deleted 62 witness testimony files from the Epstein investigation using his personal access credentials." He looked directly at Patel. Those 62 witnesses trusted the FBI director. They came forward despite fear, despite trauma, despite knowing how powerful the people they were naming are, and you made sure their voices would never be heard. Lieu closed his folder. "I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman, but I do have a motion. I move that this committee issue an immediate subpoena for all FBI data deletion logs, all communications between Director Patel and any external parties regarding the Epstein investigation, and all recovered witness testimony files. And I move that this committee refer this matter to the Department of Justice for investigation into potential obstruction of justice." The hearing descended into procedural chaos after that. Motions, counter-motions, parliamentary maneuvering, but none of it mattered. What mattered was the clip. The moment when Ted Lieu asked about 62 deleted witness names and Kash Patel started visibly sweating. The moment when the FBI director took the Fifth Amendment rather than explain why he destroyed evidence. Within an hour, the footage was everywhere. Patel sweating under questioning. Patel going silent. Patel taking the fifth. News networks interrupted regular programming. Legal experts called it the most damning congressional testimony in modern history. Former FBI officials demanded his resignation. And somewhere, 62 witnesses who thought their testimonies had been buried forever were finally being heard. The manila folder that Ted Lieu carried into that hearing room contained more than documents. It contained proof. Proof that the FBI director had personally deleted witness testimonies naming powerful individuals connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Proof that the deletion was deliberate, unauthorized, and potentially criminal. Proof that accountability, no matter how delayed, was still possible. Sometimes justice doesn't require dramatic speeches or theatrical confrontations. Sometimes it just requires a prosecutor with receipts, the patience to build an airtight case, and the courage to ask questions that powerful people desperately don't want answered. Ted Lieu asked those questions. Kash Patel's silence, his visible sweat, his invocation of the Fifth Amendment answered them. 62 witnesses, 62 deleted files. One FBI director who just destroyed his career trying to protect the powerful instead of serving justice. The clip is still spreading, The subpoenas are being drafted, and those 62 witnesses finally have someone fighting for them.